Hello everybody and welcome to the start of a brand new Let's Play. A couple things I want to mention though before we actually begin. As a result of a new job that affects my ability to be able to go ahead and actually, record and live stream because, I got less free time now. It's not really sustainable for me to actually have multiple recorded Let's Plays occurring on the channel simultaneously in terms of series. So as a result, going forward and for the foreseeable future, we are going to only have a single recorded Let's Play series going, as well as whatever it is that I'm live streaming when I do live streams. As a result of that, I've chosen this series to be that one. There will be multiple parts of it each week. I'm not 100% certain how many parts it'll be. Probably only 2, I'm thinking, because I think this is going to be a series that I am going to put a little bit more effort into, production value. Some episodes might have sort of a news report style intro in some cases, but not always. I don't expect every episode to have something like that. It's mostly going to be reserved for, big events occurring type thing. A big event occurred either, start or at the end of the last part or will be occurring in that part. Because, those things will be recorded after the fact. The other thing I wanted to go ahead and mention is that I have not spent tons of time with this game. I've dabbled with it numerous times over like the past year and a half or so, I want to say. With this most recent attempt being the attempt where I've actually stuck around with it for longer, but I still do not really know all the full ins and outs. I am still learning. So, the big thing for me when it comes to learning right now is actually more so to do with ground forces, which I can already tell you my current ones are not actually set up all that well because they're actually over their command caps, I'm pretty sure. Because I'm pretty sure command cap uses size here and a number of these. It's not the core command, but the, division command would be over. Same with regimental command. And, I could try to reorganize that, but quite frankly, I don't care to do that right now. I've gone ahead and given us a bit of a head start to some extent. Went ahead and used Space Master to go ahead and survey portions of the sort of inner systems. So basically Ceres and In have all already been surveyed. I also went ahead and gave us a ruin over on Mars to go and check out. Also went ahead and gave us a number of ships to start us out. So, we've got our couple of exploration ships already. We've got a military fleet, transport fleet for armies, salvage fleet, which admittedly we don't really need, and we won't need one for a while. But I just figured, lore-wise, we've got one because we've been doing salvaging in this area because kind of the way I envision the Terran Republic having formed here was as a result of a world war. And so there was a lot of space debris after the fact, with people shooting down each other's satellites and whatnot to try and limit intelligence and communications efforts. And so the salvage fleet had already done some salvaging once the war ended, and once we started actually recovering and going out into space. We've also already colonized Luna with a fairly decent population on there. Went ahead and decided we've got 1 million people living on the moon. Admittedly, it's a little bit too developed for the amount of people that live there right now because, way too many financial centers and mines, because this game decided to actually have the moon have mining resources, which is actually rare for me. Usually, for me, the moon is just empty. And so the only thing there is financial centers. But this time, we've actually got some mines. We've also already put a terraforming fleet overhead. I believe it is comprised of 5 terraformers. Yes, that would be correct. They're not the greatest terraformers if we actually pull up in here and put that into wide view, because that's how I prefer it. The Aten-class terraforming stations can terraform at 0.0005 atmosphere per year. So with 5 of those, it's going to take a while. Admittedly, luckily here when it comes to the terraformers, just researching stuff will improve that, and you don't actually have to do refits or anything to get the benefits, as far as I can tell. So that's nice. We've also got 11 billion people living on Earth. And we've got what is it? 2 billion people currently free. A little under 2 billion. Just waiting for a job to do, and we'll get them jobs in the future, eventually. It's going to be a little while. We do need to go ahead and obviously get exploring out here because we are going to have a bit of an issue. And one thing I try to remember to do, but I often forget, is to actually shut down our fuel refining at the start. Because the reality is we have 24 million, I guess, liters. I don't know what unit of measurement is here for fuel here. But we have 24 million of some unit of measurement of fuel in reserve already. We produce 11.48 million each year. Fuel in this game uses sorium. But sorium is used for quite a few things. So I'd really prefer not to go and run out before we've gotten a steady supply of sorium from, gas giants or something else. So we're going to shut that down. Maintenance uses uridium and calcite, which I think will be fine, letting that continue to build more maintenance supplies, although 60,000 units, we'll call it, of maintenance supplies, I think is more than enough for us to use, so I might actually shut that down as well. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and actually shut down basically both of those. Because I don't think we really need it for right this second. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and start choosing some texts. I did go ahead and give us a ton of research facilities. I think at game start, we only had something like 30 or 40. Decided, no, we're going to have 100 at game start. So let's go ahead and start choosing out some texts. Ceramic armor is nice to have. Better armor is always nice to have. Also, I should note, I did cheat and give us a bunch of text. Basically, anything that was less than 10,000 research cost, I went ahead and gave us as a starting tech. I wanted this to be sort of we've already kind of been around the block a little bit in the Sol system sort of start. We're not completely fresh. Advanced cargo shuttles is also a nice tech to get because that'll speed up loading and unloading cargo. That is an expensive one, though, at 40,000 research points. So even with these benefits, it's going to take a while. Now, the annoying thing about this game is that a lot of UI elements you cannot resize manually. And by a lot, I mean like literally every UI element cannot be resized on its own. So I can't actually see exactly what year it is that we're supposed to be finishing these advanced cargo shuttles. I can only guess, since it's about 8,000 research points we're producing each year, and there's 40,000 research points necessary, that's a good, 4.5, 5 years out. Also, I should probably get a timer started. Each part for this series is probably going to be about an hour, give or take. A little bit of wiggle room there, though, because of... just depends on what happens. I'll just set a timer for 45 for this one. Colony cost reduction, I guess, can be helpful. Also, we've got automated mines over on Venus, I forgot to mention, that are giving us a ton of calcite. We will want to put more automated mines there, more than likely, because if you look at these depletion times, yeah, that is measured in the thousands of years, which don't really need. So yeah, we're going to want to get more automated mines over to Venus once we get the opportunity. In the meantime, let's continue trying to figure out what I want to do. We're going to want to get ion drives. Those are realistically probably like the first actual drives that are decent in this game. The ones we currently have right now are... Whoops. Currently, the ones we have are the nuclear gas core, which, I mean, they're okay, but they're not that great. Like I said, I think ion drives are sort of the first actually good engine tech in this game. Let's go ahead and get the CIC out of the way, because that's going to be a helpful thing to have. We will want to get a better reactor, so let's go ahead and get that. I don't think we really need to get 25-centimeter railguns, if I'm being completely honest. So I think we're going to go ahead and improve our missiles. So 2-stage thermonuclear warhead. Let's go and get the colonization cost reduction. Maintenance support per facility is also very helpful. Refueling hub system, don't really need. Let's go ahead and get this for speeding up ground forces because, well, actually, let's remove that one for a second. I want you to get started on the terraforming. As far as I know right now, the genome-related stuff for, basically bioengineering your genomes, as far as I know, that does not work right now, so we are not going to bother researching this tech at all, because it is an absolute waste of time. And actually, let's go and get research rate at 280 RP. That'll speed up our research. And improve damage control. Let's get that. And so the game by default organizes your scientists by their bonus percentage. Max labs being the same, obviously you're going to want to go with the guy that has more bonus. But if there's a difference, particularly a difference that is significant like this, 5 and 25 max labs, you're more often going to actually benefit more from the person who has more labs that can be under them. So we're going to go actually with Emil Millwood here instead of Melissa Hiscox. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get some of our first turns going by. Actually, before I do that, though, I do actually need to set these guys up. I almost forgot about that. So, go and survey the next 5 system bodies. Survey nearest survey location. When your fuel gets to less than 30%, come back and refuel. When your deployment has been exceeded, do a refuel resupply at colony. And I need to set you up the same way. Annoyingly, there is no option to copy and paste standing orders. That would be like the only complaint I have about this game. There's also no primary condition, conditional order stuff here for... This mostly applies to the salvage guys, but there is no option, because they can only carry so much cargo capacity, to tell them to, hey, go to a colony and unload your cargo when your cargo gets to, say, 75% full or something like that. There's no option for that. And that would be a very nice conditional order to have. I realize that it might run into the issue of they may not go to the colony you want them to unload at, which, could be annoying in some cases, but generally speaking, I would still much prefer to have that conditional, because when we get into a fight, we are going to have to be dealing with, or when we salvage stuff after a fight, we're going to be needing to deal with these guys may not be able to salvage everything before they have to come back and unload. Also, I do want to note the size of this game because I kind of sort of forgot to actually adjust the settings. We have a 1,000 number, or we have 1,000 systems here. Theoretically, I can modify this and maybe it won't break stuff, but I'm not going to take the risk. I'm just going to assume it would break something, so we're not going to do that. So there's 1,000 systems in this galaxy. Will we explore all of them? Hell no, I guarantee you that. And I believe the default setting is something like 2 or 3 NPRs or non-player races. Raiders are also on by default, although I did turn on NPRs do encounter the raiders themselves as well, so it's not just us needing to deal with them. I also decided, even though this is a republic, sometimes people get promoted even though they do not necessarily have the skills. So political skills are actually beneficial to some extent for getting promotions. So we will sometimes have incompetent commanders get promoted. That'll be a fun thing to experience, I'm sure, whenever we end up getting into a big fight. But now that that's all out of the way, let's actually do what I was going to do and actually begin, because we don't have any other changes I need to make here as of right this second. I mean, I could tell the colony fleet to... Do I want to do that? Do I want to have you guys transport more people? Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and do that. Go ahead, transport more people. Game has decided that I do not have an unload option on Luna for some reason, which is very weird. Because obviously I do own Luna, and it is set as a destination of colonists. It's not military restricted, so I don't know why the game's not showing an option there for unloading at Luna, but it... okay, sure. Let's just do a save real quick and just make sure the game realizes there's a colony there. Nope, game has just decided that these guys are not allowed to unload their colonists at Luna for reasons that are completely unknown to me. We will, I guess, just ignore that. Okay. Very well then. Let's do a 1-day tick. And our survey ships are going to go out and explore. Oh, let's turn on events because something clearly happened. And actually, 1 second. I do need to go ahead and turn on colors for these. So 1 moment. Okay, there we go. I'm back. Needed to turn on color so that this stuff is a little bit easier to be able to identify what is what. Oh yes, the game has finally updated and realized that you need a Rear Admiral upper half, not a Rear Admiral lower half. You have a captain, you have a commander, you have a commander. You need a captain. You need a Rear Admiral lower half. You need a captain. Upgrade that to a captain. You need a commander, and you already have one. And you need a commander and already have one. Wonderful. Okay, that should all be corrected now. I think the game paused because of the civilian mining operation beginning on... the civilian mining operation that began on Mercury. Also, now that I remember, we do actually need to set up a colony on Mars so that I can tell the... Where are you? Expeditionary Strike Group 1 to load up the first survey team and unload them at Mars so that they can start surveying that ruined settlement. Wonderful, you've completed your orders. Now you just stay there until further notice. Now, obviously, yes, this stuff is going to tick by very quickly. Luckily, the game is smart enough to basically say, unless there's something important, I'm just going to go ahead and keep on ticking along, and it will just pause whenever something, like here, 15 inactive labs, pops up. So let's go ahead and dump those into the, where was it? There it is. Improved damage control. And we still have 5 other ones available, so let's go and see what we want to go ahead and dump those into. I do not plan to use energy weapons. I'm planning to stick with missiles and railguns, basically. Realistically, in this game, generally speaking, missiles are sort of the go-to, but they have the downside, of course, of they require materials, because you need to actually produce each of the missiles at a colony. And those can sometimes be expensive, particularly when it comes to calcite. Do I want to... Well, I don't actually currently have a scientist who specializes in sensors and control systems who can work there. So let's go ahead and do better fuel consumption. Start working on that. And get the game ticking again. It should be noted that this game is very slow, especially here at the early game. But even in the mid and late game, well, I can't really say late game, but even, you know, like 60 years in, the game can be slow because there are going to be times where I'm just basically going to be staring at a couple of screens trying to get a ship design to be feasible for some mission criteria that I'm trying to make. You know, maybe I'm trying to upgrade our carrier to a 60,000 ton carrier, you know, for a second generation carrier, basically. But I'm trying to get it to achieve a certain speed while having a certain amount of range, and still be able to carry a certain number of aircraft. Well, not necessarily aircraft, but fighters. Spacecraft, that's the term I should be looking for. But as a result, you will sometimes just spend a lot of time basically staring at a screen trying to figure out, okay, well, how can I make that work? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and build 100 of these automated mines so we can ship them off to Venus. Because does Venus give me corundium? I thought it did. No, corundium is one of the things it doesn't. It's just a lot of duranium, neutronium, and calcite, which kind of sucks. We actually don't have a source of corundium beyond Earth, which is a bit of an annoyance, actually. I'm sure somewhere produces a little bit, but the question is whether or not I can find somewhere that has a decent supply. There's a bit on this asteroid, 2002 KX-14, but I don't think that's really worth going for, to be honest. Let's see. Comosola has a little bit of corundium. Henschel Rigolet has a little bit. The reality is these, like, 5-digit ones aren't generally worth it, in my opinion. That's my opinion on it, at least. Other people might have their own opinions, so we may have to rely on getting corundium from outside of the Sol system. So first things first, we need to finish surveying so that our guys can get to work on going to these survey locations and trying to find jump points. Speaking of jump points as well, let's go ahead and actually get a jump stabilization station going. I'm going to need... Let's get at least 2 for now. This will finish... The automated mines will finish October of next year. And I should also probably... Oh. I didn't give you guys a fleet to jump out of, but whatever. It's... I'll put these in unassigned space stations, and fighters can go to... I don't actually have a thing here, so let's go ahead into... Oh, no, I do. Fighter reserves, there it is. Any fighters produced here will go into fighter reserves, and any space stations produced here will go to unassigned space station. It's a wonderful fleet. It's just a nice, easy way to be able to organize stuff, and I'll move them where they actually need to be in the future. In the meantime, get the game ticking away again. This is very early in the game, so obviously it doesn't take too much to process. We are actually hitting these survey locations now, and you came back to refuel, I guess, since you didn't stick around for too long. Jump point detected. Wonderful. Ooh, that's actually slightly annoying in some ways. So we've found our first jump point, which, you know, is slightly nice. Slightly. But it's got the issue of it is literally like just outside the orbit of Earth, which presents a bit of a problem for us. If an alien species were to pop out here, they would effectively be jumping out right on top of us, which is not something we want. So this makes Earth a bit of a pain to defend because there are certain times of the year where it will be right next to this jump point. Of course, this does mean some of our ships don't have to fly as far when they got to go through that jump point. But we still have to deal with the issue of there's a jump point there, and the enemies can use that potentially to jump in right on top of us, and we won't really have much time to react. Go ahead and get the game ticking away again, see if we can find some other jump points. I am probably going to want to go through this jump point and basically secure that end of it as quickly as possible. I assume these guys are moving people to Luna. Yes, they are. They are moving an absolute metric ton of people to Luna. I literally started Luna off with a population of 1 million, and they've jumped all the way up to... Okay, we found a second one. They've jumped up to 16 million. Excuse me. 18 million, almost 19, actually, now. But I guess that's one way of dealing with your problem. Oh, yes. Speaking of, how's that survey on Mars doing? Ruined settlement. Did you complete it? Or was it technically already complete? It might have actually already been completed when I spawned it. I actually don't know for certain. Abandoned installations, unknown race, xenoarchaeology required. Well, I have a survey team there, and they have an archaeology team. If I pull up our ground stuff and we look at them, they got an archaeology team, which has 2 archaeology equipments for a total of 1 point per vehicle. So I'm assuming you guys are working on that, but it's a slow grind of a process, and annoyingly the game doesn't really provide you any information on their progress. So I can only assume that they're getting the work done. But that's about it. Also, I want the game to sort this stuff and hide commercial for now, because I don't really care to see it. Okay, so we have found 2 jump points, and that is apparently all we have here, because there is one more survey location, but it looks like Explorer 2, the TRSS Abu Muhammad ibn Batil, or Batut? Batut, I think, actually. Yeah. Is not able to complete its standing orders. So let's go ahead and find him in this list, because even though I have this stuff somewhat organized, it is still a bit of a pain at times to find stuff. So how's your fuel? Well, you're at 80%. Go ahead and just refuel and resupply and transit through jump point 1. I need to explore that side so that we can go ahead and figure out what's there and how to deal with it as quickly as possible. Okay, and Explorer 1 has now finished his. You do the same thing, refuel and resupply, and then I'm going to send you through jump point 2. Okay. Commander Gay, I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name because I can't, has found Alpha Centauri. So that's what's on the other side here. Now the question is whether or not there's any aliens here. Because theoretically it's possible there could be an NPR here. But I'm not seeing any obvious planets that seem likely. I mean, granted, Alpha Centauri A2 might actually. Max population of 45,000 some odd, and that's in millions. So 47 billion. And it is a terrestrial planet. This might actually have aliens, potentially, which would be slightly annoying, I will admit, if we have an NPR right next door, especially through jump point 1. But yes, yes. Also, let's go ahead and show. Some people do actually get medals. They're not worth a whole hell of a lot, though. Well, most of them, and a fair few of them actually don't have anything tied to them. And I guess some of the guys we spawned with already had some years of service, because somehow we already have 103 people who got the Distinguished Service Order for 10 years of service, even though we started the game in 2100, and it's only 2101. Okay, well, let's go ahead and hope that there's no aliens. There's no NPRs here in Alpha Centauri, but this could actually be a somewhat useful system to go to. Okay, and Colton Kesey, well, Commander Colton Kesey, rather, has found Seti. Well, let's take a quick look in here, see if there's any obvious planets that could potentially contain life. To which I'm going to say no, because there are not any particularly large planets. I mean, sure, you can fit 2 billion people on some of these moons. But I think for the most part, this is probably not going to have life here in Seti, which I'm fine with. I'm perfectly fine with that. I do not want to run into an NPR right now. It's a little too early for my likings. Oh, we found some ruins in Alpha Centauri. Wonderful. Whoops, wrong button. It is Alpha Centauri. Which one? Alpha Centauri 2. Here. Okay, well, let's actually go real quick and look through here. Hide all comets. I don't care about them. Only show me stuff with... Oh, I need to also look for Sorium and Sol, so we'll check that in a moment. Any of these planets particularly worth colonizing for materials? Well, Alpha Centauri B4 has quite a bit of duranium, titanium, and marcassium, which is nice. It's also a giant planet, so I'd probably want to colonize it anyway, even if it's just to dump a bunch of financial centers on it. B2 also has a fair few stuff. 6 digits at least of corundium, which is helpful. And 6 digits of galsite, which I'm going to need for all of the missiles I'll be building. So that's another planet we're going to want to colonize. Double check again on Alpha Centauri A. Tons of iridium here on A2. Yeah, we're going to want that. And besides, I need to go there anyway to check out the ruins. Oh, apparently we found some in Siceti. I don't think the game paused for the one in Siceti. Well, let's check out how your survey in Siceti's been doing. Ooh, 11 billion sorium here. That is nice. Very nice indeed, actually. And Siceti B1 has, oh god, 7 digits of corundium? Hell yes. Okay, now let's go to Sol and actually, check and see if there's any sorium here, because if not, I'm going to have to deal with shipping it in from out of system, which is not a fun process. And there is no sorium within the Sol system, it looks like, or at least no large deposits of it. I mean, there's 6 digits on Uranus, which is, okay, I guess. But, well, actually, Mars has quite a bit. We'll just say 1.5 billion. That's not too bad, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna need to colonize Mars, like, legitimately colonize it. Okay, then. Whoops, not that one. Colony fleet. Let's see if you work this time. Here, Mars, why the hell do you not have an unload option? Did I forget to put something on you guys? It's always possible I did, but Colony ship, you guys. Yeah, I think I know what I forgot to give you. Forgot to give you shuttles. So we're gonna actually, because this is a major issue and it's also kind of my fault. I'm going to go ahead and, unlock design, Space Master and cargo for you guys. Whoopsie daisy, I'm an idiot who forgot to actually give you something you need. Also, you guys don't really need 2 years of deployment time. We'll do a year at most. Realistically, that should be more than acceptable. In which case I will, because I want to get you under 80,000, or to 80,000 rather. There we go. Nope, that gets you back over. There we go. 322 days of fuel. That is acceptable. And 15 hours, I think that is. I don't actually recall. I think that's in minutes, hours, days order, I believe. But now let's try that again. Earth. Load colonists. Yep, that was the issue, because I'm an idiot who completely forgot to give you guys... God, that's such... Oh, did I forget to do that with the freighters too? God, I hope I didn't. No, the freighter does have cargo shuttle bays. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So, yeah, no, I'm just an idiot who forgot to give it to Mars. Okay, cargo fleet. I want you to load up on infrastructure and dump it on Mars. Unload. Actually, remove last. Mars, minimum amount. Oops. Well, No, game, I'm not wanting to do minimum available, technically speaking. Screw it, just repeat this order 9 times. We'll sort it out from there. And then once you're done repeating it 9 times, refuel and resupply at Earth. And then we'll go and colonize Mars after you have completed those orders, which shouldn't take too long. Oh, there we go. We have completed research into improved damage control. Wonderful. Let's see. We actually have a massive racial wealth, and I'm going to attribute a large portion of that to Mars. Or not Mars, Luna. Why do we already have 0.1 million people on? Oh, game. Game, did you really? Just because I created a colony? Okay, so I think the AI decided, hey, you made a colony on Mars. Well, yes, because you technically can't have military troops on a planet without it being a colony. For some reason, it's just the way the game works. As a result of that, because this is in the same system and the civilians have the ability to do this, and I did not set Mars as a military restricted colony, they already shipped stuff here. Yay! Okay, well, let's go ahead and, whoops, not add installations, actually. Well, here, before I forget, turn that off, because I'm not using it right now, and I don't want to accidentally use it. So, Mars, mines, add demand for 100 mines. Earth, you shall supply 100 mines. Did you finish with the automated mines? No, you still have 49.12 to go. Once you're done with that, I will have Venus request them. Although I suppose I can have Venus request them now, technically speaking. Yeah, let's do that. Venus, go ahead and request 100 automated mines. Earth will supply 100 automated mines. The AI will, using this method, the AI will go ahead and move the stuff for us, so that'll save us quite a bit of time. I'm not needing to micromanage actually sending the stuff. Realistically, I just need to provide a basic deployment of infrastructure so that we can get the initial colonists down, but once that's done, don't really need to worry. I think we're going to focus on mining, then population growth, and realistically, the rest of these don't matter too much, so colony administration. At least for me, the rest of them don't really matter. Oh, did I don't think I actually set up, yeah, no, I forgot to set the rest of the research aside. So what do I want to do? I can improve the efficiency of our jump drives, which basically the only things that'll have jump drives are going to be the exploration ships and maybe a couple of other things down the road. Oh, the guy who was researching maintenance support facilities died. Let's go ahead and get somebody to finish that up. Turret tracking speed, I think, is like the only thing in energy weapons that we will ever bother researching for the most part. Because I might end up with Gauss turrets in the future for point defense. Oops, and the guy who was researching this also died, and I don't actually have anybody to replace him right now. Do I have anybody who's doing missiles? No, I don't. Okay, well, we're going to actually have to go in here and switch somebody. So who has a bunch of spares that they don't need? There are... I don't think I need 6 people for ground combat. So I'm going to actually change your field. This does recruit... Yeah, this does decrease your bonus by 75% because this isn't your research field. But it's important to me that I have somebody who can at least do missiles and kinetic weapons. Thank you very much, game. Luckily, you have access to 25 labs, so that'll sort of make up for it. I don't know why the game's not showing me an Academy Commandant to put down, but yeah, for some reason I just don't have one. And I do have an academy, you know, I've got a level 10 Naval Academy and level 10 Military Academy, so I should have an Academy Commandant position, but apparently I don't for some reason. I do not know why. Game, there was some red thing that just popped up. Minerals exhausted. Neutronium exhausted in Gallia. Okay, well that's fine. I don't care about that. Jump point detected in Siceti. Wonderful. And decent distance. Oh no, never mind. Damn, you got far before the game decided to actually tell me this. Or is this a second one? Might be a second one, actually. No, you got very far. Somehow you went from here to there before the game actually paused to tell me. Okay, you guys finished. Damn, the game is really building up these colonies super quickly. I mean, I guess it makes sense. There's 2 billion people on Earth that need to get the hell off the planet because they got no jobs. So, might as well ship them to Mars, where they will still have no job. Because we haven't moved all of our stuff over yet. Damn, they have 8... I think that's a little too much infrastructure, game. Yes, Earth has, like, 0 infrastructure on it. Now, at least in the case of your capital world, infrastructure is not strictly necessary. So in this game, the way infrastructure basically works is it determines what your max supported population is. So, and that's affected by a number of things. So it's affected by infrastructure per million, which I believe is affected by the environment of the planet, if I recall correctly. The closer it is to your species' ideal environment, the less infrastructure you need per million persons. Hence why Earth, which is technically a perfect world for us, has an infrastructure per million population of 0. We literally do not need any infrastructure on Earth to support a population. Well, Luna has 200. So every 200 infrastructure is needed for 1 million people. There is currently a ludicrous amount of infrastructure here at north of 4,700. Do they need that much? No. No, they don't. In fact, I think their biggest issue... You know, it is interesting that we have 23.64 million people here. What are you all spending your time doing? Ah, yes, tons of people doing these jobs. Various background jobs. Less people will be spending time working on, like, agriculture and whatnot once we've sorted out the environment. So we're currently working on getting nitrogen there. But we'll get the other stuff like oxygen, argon, and water vapor down the road. Another jump point in Siceti. Another jump point in Siceti. Okay, it's kind of looked like Siceti might be sort of the gateway to the rest of the galaxy, potentially. Because Alpha Centauri has not found a single gateway yet. Or, excuse me, jump gate yet. Where the hell are you going? Oh, you're going to the comet. I wish I could tell you to ignore comets, because I do not go for them at all. Yet another jump gate. Or not jump gate, jump point. Until we stabilize the jump point, there is no jump gate. Damn, that's what, the 4th one in Saiseti? Jesus. No, 6th one. Yeah, Saiseti's going to be the way out. Oh, here we go. The ruined settlement on Mars have been fully surveyed. The alien race which inhabited the planet has been identified as the Imalda, and their language and symbology, have been translated. 25 abandoned installations were identified as suitable for partial recovery by a construction brigade. Okay, so I think that's the game's way of telling me you need to move a construction brigade over here. Whoops, wrong one. Of course, do not get to go ahead and look at their stuff. So, we're going to tell Earth to go ahead and build us an engineering company, because I need a spare one that can just be dumped on a planet, independent of anybody else. Whoops, we're selected on Mars. They don't have the ability to build those, because they don't have any of the ground construction facilities. So set that up. That'll be out end of May. We could switch to 5-day ticks if we wanted to, and I might actually end up doing that. Just because here at the early game, it speeds things up quite a bit. I don't care for advanced damage control, but I would like to get laminate composite armor. And I'm going to go ahead and have Emil take care of that. And let's do... Oops, Saiseti has been completed. Do you have... Well, what is your fuel level, rather? 80%. Okay, well, go ahead and continue on. Go through jump point 1. Tell me what's on the other side. Okay. It is a system with a couple of planets, dwarf planets, and a bunch of survey locations for potential jump points, but really nothing to write home about. Have you guys been moving the mines to Venus? You have. Wonderful. Also, I might need to build more mass drivers to ship to Venus. Because each mass driver, to my understanding, unless I'm misremembering, is able to support a send of like 5,000 materials each. You can receive an infinite number, but the total that can be sent by a single mass driver, I believe, is like 5,000, and it's currently at like 3,700. So I'm likely going to need more mass drivers on Venus for it to be able to efficiently send all of the duranium, neutronium, and calcite that it's producing. And the 19th Engineer Company has been trained. Whoops, wrong button. I will regularly be pressing the wrong button when I mean to go somewhere else. It should be noted. So, Earth, load, 19th Engineering, go to Mars, unload. No, just unload all. I don't care to actually select a specific one. Go refuel, resupply back at Earth when you're done. And you're done. 5-day tick is not necessary, but it's just what I'm doing. So you should be working on doing these abandoned installations. Again, the game will give us 0 progress reports on how that is all going. So it's all entirely up in the air as to whether or not they are actually doing their job or not. I can only assume that they are. Jump point discovered in Alpha Centauri, finally. What are a couple of these? Minerals exhausted in Gallia. Ah, factory restored. We've recovered an abandoned mine on Mars, and... wanna... Okay, well, you know what? I only get to see the one. I'm pretty sure there was another one of these light blues for something was recovered, but I can't go back enough to actually see it, so let's see if we can take a look over here and make a guess as to what it is. You said automated mine, right? No, an abandoned mine. Okay, never mind. I'm an idiot. 1 day tick. My timer went off, but I'm going to let this part go for a little bit longer. New jump point found in 25 Ursae Minoris. Research completed. Better fuel efficiency, so if I wanted to, swap out our engines with something that's a little bit more efficient, I could, but I'm not going to do that right at this moment in time. This is not really worth it. It doesn't actually help us noticeably. Again, I don't have a sensors person. Are they already working? Whoops, wrong button. Because I definitely have some. Yeah, but I don't... Okay, no, I only got the one. We're going to take another ground combat person. We're going to change your... I know, game. I know. Sensors and controls. Thank you. Dump you there. Okay, 25 Ursae is done. This is the first dude. You have 73 fuel, or 73% fuel left. Go ahead and go through jump point 2. This is a very similar system where there's really nothing to see here. It's just an empty system to pass through, basically. Automated mines on Earth have been completed, and we have found a jump point here. We're now working on the jump stabilization station. And first one of those has been completed. Just for simplicity for me, I'm going to actually create a separate command for jump stabilization. And we're just going to call it jump command. And we're going to place a fleet under there. Actually, I'm not going to bother naming the fleet because it's completely irrelevant. I'm going to go ahead and immediately dump you into the tug fleet because I know how this shit works. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. Go here. Tug fleet. Tractor any ship in that fleet. Take it to the Alpha Center. Nope. No. Remove last. Go here. Release tractor ship. Go back to Earth. Okay. Now that you did that. Oh, good. The game actually automatically spit you back out over here. That saves me a ton of time. Usually the game doesn't automatically spit out the tractored ship into its own fleet. But it looks like this time it did for some reason. I don't know why. Because it's not like I'm playing on a newer version than what I was playing on like just a week and a half ago. So, yeah, that's a thing. I'm not a huge fan of that, to be completely honest with you. But go ahead and stabilize that point. I believe the current thing I have you using means it will take you 180 days. So, half a year, we'll say. Because it's basically half a year for you to actually complete that. And the second one has finished. Let's go ahead and move it over to the other location. Where the hell did the game dump you? Oh, damn it, game. That's why the game decided to go ahead and automatically dump it out into its own fleet. Because it was stupid. It went ahead and removed my unassigned space station fleet. So let's do this. Fleets, choose you. Track journey, ship and fleet. Dump you at the size SETI. Head back to Earth. Just head back to Earth. No, not follow. Just go to Earth normally. No, damn it. Go to Earth normally. Thank you. Having problems there. Also, I'm going to want Earth to go ahead and start building as well our fuel harvesters, because I'm going to need a ton of those. What planets was it again we were going to go for the Sorium? 500,000 in Alpha Centauri A1, not really worth talking about. Don't bother showing comets because I will ignore them entirely. Granted, when it comes to the fuel harvesters, I'm looking for like gas giants, because that's what they're meant for. But I'm finding a lot of these Sorium things on like actual planets, like terrestrial planets. So maybe I won't actually need those, but I will need... I'm trying to think, how will you transport Sorium from a planet? Can I transport it via... Let's check that real quick. Earth, if I told you to load up on Sorium, okay, you could. Yeah, I think we're going to be dealing with cargo groups. I'm going to need a ton of them because we've got a boatload of Sorium on various planets. Yeah, okay. Oh boy. Well, this is going to be a fun and exciting journey. Normally, when it comes to getting Sorium, I have to use, gas giants and fuel harvester stations and then tankers to transport the fuel from them to Earth and back and yada, yada, yada. And make sure I set them up on a good schedule so that they can actually be relatively efficient. But evidently, that's not going to be a worry here. Because I guess it depends on if you consider it lucky or not. We have not actually found a gas giant with a boatload of Sorium. We have found terrestrial planets with a boatload of Sorium. So I guess we're going to hold off on building fuel harvesting stations because I don't want to really spend the resources to build them and then just have it sitting around Earth for 1,000,000 years waiting to eventually... Because those planets are worth colonizing, it should be noted. It'd be one thing if those planets were not worth colonizing, but they actually are. So we're not going to deal with fuel harvesting stations right now, but eventually we will have to deal with them. Instead, we're going to transport that Sorium via a cargo fleet, because I don't need a tanker for it. You finally finished here in Alpha Centauri. Wonderful. Let's end this part with you, I guess, heading to Earth, because you need to refuel and resupply. You have very little left in terms of MSP, so, maintenance points. I don't actually know what the S stands for, if I'm being completely honest with you, but, it's maintenance points. It's literally what it is. It's probably maintenance system points or something, but whatever. This is a weird thing where MSP, I think, is actually used multiple times in different locations for different things. Yeah. MSP is also used for missiles, where it stands for like missile size points or something to that effect. But for here, it's maintenance. Why is it used in multiple locations? I don't know. This should probably just be MP for maintenance points. Because that's and it's also used here, but it basically does the same meaning as here. How many maintenance supplies do you have on hand? And then what the maintenance life is considering those and the various things here. But that's going to be it for this part. This part has actually gone a little over an hour. I wanted it to be about an hour, but we went a bit longer. That's fine, though. So I will see you all next time, where we will be continuing to explore the neighboring systems and establishing ourselves here in the Sol system. We have... Yeah, goddamn, adding all that population to Earth actually, I think, really helped us to some extent for colonizing the local system or the local planets. Because, yeah, Luna's already basically done. And Mars is well on its way. Although I'm going to have to deal with the fact that there is just an absolutely ludicrous amount of carbon dioxide on Mars, and that's actually not a useful gas. So that's one of those situations where I'm going to have to remove it. But I don't think I can just remove it on its own. I think I literally have to bring a station over here to be able to remove it. I mean, theoretically, I could build like a terraforming installation here. I don't think those are worth it, because then I have to dedicate a fleet to haul these around from planet to planet. I mean, I guess it could be useful. You know, you just build it once on a planet somewhere and you just reuse them forever. And I guess maybe it's cheaper. I just don't know what the terraforming rate is of a terraforming installation compared to a terraforming station here. Because I can put multiple terraforming stations if I copy this. And, you know, each one adds the same value. It's just, they're kind of heavy. Yeah, 25,000 tons each. That's why I only have the one here. Although I could have added a second, and that might have been worth it. And we might build a second generation of terraforming stations. Generally, I don't, because they're not necessary. It's just, I wanted this to be lighter, because I wanted our tugs to be able to move at a significantly faster speed while hauling them around. And, you know, because they're lighter, they're also cheaper to build, so I can mass produce them quite a bit easier. But nonetheless, that'll be it for this first part. I will see you all next time. Quick reminder, if you find yourself enjoying this series or any other series on the channel, there are multiple ways to support the channel financially so I can continue to bring you this content and also, you know, improve the quality of the content in many ways. So those two ways are via Patreon or Streamlabs. Patreon is obviously intended more so for, you know, monthly support, long-term monthly support to be more accurate. While Streamlabs is more intended for one-offs, so it does have an option for monthly. It's up to you what you want to use. Patreon does come with some goodies, such as early access to videos, while Streamlabs does not get any of those goodies, but I believe on an individual basis, more of your money does actually reach the channel, but I think Patreon would end up taking the lead in that regard if there was a bunch of people supporting the channel. The money goes much further, I think, with Patreon if there's a ton of people. But little one-offs, I think Streamlabs, actually the math works out more in their favor. If you want to stay up to date with this, or rather, if you want to stay up to date with the channel, I would highly recommend you join the Discord server. You can find a link to that down below, as well as the Patreon and Streamlabs links. Discord is my go-to place for posting about the channel. That is where I will post if there are changes to my schedule again, and how the schedule is impacted as a result of those changes exactly. So yeah, I will see you all next time. Feel free to, leave a like, comment. If you have a grasp on how the ground units, designs system works, please feel free to let me know. Leave a comment with some tips and whatnot there, because I am mostly lost there, if I'm being completely honest with you. I have some basic understanding because some of it is obvious, but that's a system I haven't had too much exposure to, so I'm still kind of learning it. So I will see you all next time. Until then, goodbye and farewell.